This video is proudly sponsored by GamersGate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit GamersGate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geeks Elder Speak. Today is Thursday, April 5th, 2012. My name is Randy Yasenchak, editor of ElderGeek.com. Today in the background, actually going to be seeing a new game, a little bit of an indie thing that I picked up, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it so far, but it is hard. I'm probably going to be doing a review for it sometime in the future, hopefully. Keep your eyes out for it, but in the meantime, check out the gameplay of it in the background. It's called Project Black Sun. I got it for a whopping $2. It's this Metroidvania-esque kind of game, but the challenge level is Castlevania 1 challenge level. So if you're interested in the gameplay, it's $2. I can probably say I recommend it for now, but if you want to wait for the full review, that you're more than welcome to. But on the show again with me this week, I have Phil Summers, who I'm not going to goof up his name this week, even though I almost said Phil Schmoozle. Phil, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
You have been a busy little editor or writer this week. You cranked out two reviews. You did one for Colors 3D, which you gave a worth trying. And then you did one for Kid Icarus, which it sounded like this might be almost already your game of the year.
It's looking that way, man. It is. Kid Icarus, if you go to the site, obviously we don't have video reviews of DS games, but if you go to the site, it's up there and you can read my thoughts on it. But yeah, I was really shocked. I expected to go in there liking the game, and I ended up just being blown away, and it's just a really well-made game. It's just a game through and through. Like, you're playing, everything you can do in it is just like fun, and you're playing with menus. It almost kind of reminds you of like when you used to play with Mario's Face in Mario 64. Like you just kind of goofed around for no reason. It's got like lots of stuff not like that, but just like playful things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had read that you said there were like hundreds of weapons and everything like that. I was not expecting that from Nintendo.
Yeah, like a ton of weapons, and they're all and they all have different purposes. Like, you can use claws, so they're more like if you want to do more melee style, like, use your claws and you can just go right up to people and punch them. But if you're, if you want to play it more as a shooter, which it is, you would pick like a blade where you can shoot from far away. And yeah, it's really deep, and there's tons to do. Like the cinematic stuff, it's all in game. There's not many like cinemas that you're just sitting there watching. There are all these on-rail sections kind of similar to Star Fox, and just all sorts of crazy shit's going down. And yeah, I was just really surprised. Didn't expect it at all.
That's awesome. And then for Colors 3D, you gave it a worth trying, but it wasn't that you didn't think that it was a good program. It was more that if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's totally worth trying, but it's not a everybody must rush out and kind of buy kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I actually thought about my score today. I was like, I wonder if I should change that, because yeah, if you are an aspiring artist and you don't have an iPad or a smartphone that has like a little drawing app, and you want something to draw with while you're on the go, it's perfect. It's like $7. I wrote about it on NeoGAF. Somebody asked, I'm not much of an artist, but I've always kind of wanted to get into it. Would it be worth getting, and is it hard? And I was like, well, yeah, it's hard because you need to learn.
Practice. Right,
exactly. But I was like, if you're curious about your artistic ability, to buy this would be cheaper than buying like a nice notepad and some nice pencils. So
totally, or any Wacom tablet, model Wacom tablet out there.
Yeah. So yeah, in that regard, it's worth buying. But for anybody else,
for the curious, it's definitely worth trying.
Yeah, worth checking out. Worth trying and worth buying is hard with digital stuff, because not everything has a demo, and you can't just go rent it from like GameFly or whatever. So
right. Worth trying also means it's like worth a shot almost.
Yeah.
Like if you're the curious type, that you should check it out. I have to admit, man, I was really impressed by the drawings that you did. If you guys want to see them, you actually got to go to the site. I wish I could actually post the videos here, but there's links within the review that actually, I guess Colors actually records the drawing process.
Yeah.
So you can actually see Phil draw the whole thing. He did a Contra painting and a Kid Icarus drawing, and they're both just awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, the recording feature was cool because I wasn't expecting it. It doesn't tell you that it's doing that. You know, you just start drawing and you're just kind of dicking around, and then you save it and you step back out in the menus, and then when you load it up again, you realize it's playing what you just drew, and you're like, oh wow, this is pretty neat. So it automatically records everything. You don't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's just that's what it does. So yeah, it's a neat little program, and you know, my drawings are. I know you said you liked them, but for me, I nitpick and I'm crazy about that stuff. But there is some like incredible, already on there, like incredible looking stuff. That
you can dig around in the galleries and you're like, wow, somebody did this with a 3DS or even with a smartphone or anything else. You're just like, that's incredible.
Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely room to do some really nice work if you want to put the time into it. So yeah, worth trying.
Go check them out. But in the meantime, we actually got a lot of news to kind of cover today. Sadly, we're probably not going to be able to get to some comments. And there were some comments actually on yesterday's post that I really wanted to respond to, but I'll probably hold off on those until tomorrow. But news number one item on the list is going to be that GamersGate has officially kicked off their IndieFort bundle number one. We had reported on this one a little bit earlier, but now it's actually here. Now you can actually do it, and it's only going to be live for the next 6 days. So with that bundle, it's $6. Like the minimum you have to pay is $6, and you get Kenshi, Cardinal Quest, Black Market, Wonderlust Rebirth, Devil Whiskey, Steel Storm, and that's just it. A couple of these games are actually like Devil Whiskey. They're asking for $25 normally, and Kenshi you're asking for $12. So even if you were interested in one of these games, the $6 is totally worth it. And they actually have it nicely set up so that if you wanted to kick the developers a couple of extra bucks, you can actually pay more than $6, and every dollar over that $6 goes right to the devs.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat little system they got there. So I keep telling you, I keep wanting to do Kenshi, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah, that looks like a deep one.
Mm-hmm. It does. Yeah. It does. And Devil Whiskey, I think anybody who is kind of psyched for Grimrock, it's that whole Eye of the Beholder type kind of game. So 2 games right there that I know I personally would probably lose myself into for hours upon hours. And what was the other one that I just saw a video for today, and I was like, what? This is crazy. It's a kind of a top-down shooter.
Oh yeah?
I think it's Steel Storm. Yeah, Steel Storm, and it's this top-down twin-stick kind of shooter. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Smash TV.
Okay.
But instead of a person, you're kind of this super advanced hovercraft kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
And graphically, that one looks really cool too. So anyway, you guys can check that out. Link's actually going to be below. Next up, and we were actually debating whether or not we were going to announce this one or not today due to time constraints, but BioWare has officially announced that they are going to be adding on a free DLC to anybody who purchased Mass Effect 3 to extend the endings, to hopefully further explain them or to further flesh out the endings. Now, it's going to be a free download for anybody who purchased the game, and it's good until April 12th, 2014, which I'm assuming by 2014 you're going to be able to get Mass Effect 3 for crazy cheap anyway. So there you have it. BioWare officially announced the
better ending.
The better ending. Hopefully. But you know what? Justin sent me a note during the day, and he was like, what do we all do if we're unhappy with the new ending that they send us? What if it's still just the same thing of just 3 choices for the endings and everybody's still mad,
Start baking those cupcakes, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, well, that'll be funny. It'll be funny to see. And maybe it'll be one of those things where when it happens, people are like, maybe I kind of like the original ending.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, so... I have never played Mass Effect, but I'm very interested to see
now that there's all this debate. Now you're interested.
Well, I'm not interested in playing it, but I'm very interested, how this story is going to end, like how, not the game story, but I got you. How these events will unfold. Yeah, yes, I'm very curious to see how the fans will react to the extended cut, and yeah, it's been it's been fun to read some of this stuff.
It has been more entertaining some days than others. I want to give a date, but I'm having a hard time finding the date in the press release.
I don't think they have a date. I think they just said summer, coming this summer. So I mean,
Yeah.
they're obviously throwing this thing together. You know.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if they have to like bring back in the voice actors and.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how hard it is to, make some new game cinematic. It doesn't sound like there's any new actual game to play.
Right.
It just sounds like it's going to be a bigger cutscene at the end. So, yeah, I don't know how hard it is for them to throw that together.
Yeah, with a company like EA and a nearly limitless supply of money to throw at the problem, I'm sure that they can put something decent together pretty quickly.
You know who I feel bad for in all this are the guys that worked on these goddamn cinemas for the last like 2 years, and then they finally got their break, and now they have to go back and make more cinema.
They thought they were done, and they were like, "Finally, honey,
Yeah.
we're done with the 80-hour weeks. We can finally go on vacation."
Yeah, I can finally see my kid, and now they have to go back because a bunch of people complained and cried. That's who I feel bad for.
That's true, and a lot of the guys that were actually, putting the ending together, it's not like they're the ones that wrote it or decided to put those endings together. So
yeah.
You know what? You make a good point. But there you have it. BioWare has officially, or EA has officially announced. Well, no, it's an EA press release, but BioWare officially announces that they're adding this stuff on. Coming up next is actually a story that you were kind of excited about. I wanted to shop this one, but you said to keep it on here because you're a big Suda51 fan.
I am.
Apparently, his next game has been detailed a little bit. It's going to be called Killer is Dead, and a few new nuggets about that have come forward through Famitsu magazine today.
Yeah, the game. It sounds like it's going to be very similar to No More Heroes. It's still got that whole assassin vibe going on. Apparently, it's still like sword fight type game style, so it should really fall in line with No More. It says it's not. They stress that it is not a sequel to Killer 7, but they never say anything about it being, not a sequel to No More Heroes. So it could be tied into that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I never played the No More Heroes version that hit the PS3. The only No More Heroes that I played was No More Heroes 2, and I think that was on the Wii.
Okay, you didn't dig it?
No, I really didn't. I gave it a poor review on the site. I think.
Oh, really? I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That might have been our. God, how long ago was No More Heroes 2 out? But I mean,
maybe 3 years.
Yeah, it could have been. So it might have actually been our first year in existence. I still remember why I didn't like it. I mean, I thought that the game. Yeah, I remember that the gameplay I thought was like mediocre at best. Like I thought that it was a pretty average game at best. But at the same time, I was totally turned off personally by like how much gratuitous cursing and stuff was that was going. I don't mind cursing.
Yeah.
I really don't, and I don't mind raunchy humor. But this, I thought it was done to a point where it was like entirely too much. I wasn't offended. I just thought it was a poor design choice.
I totally understand. Like, I felt that way about Mad World. Did you play Mad World for Wii?
Didn't play Mad World.
It's very similar, where it's just they're just cursing for the sake of cursing, and it's not really funny.
Right.
Right. And No More Heroes definitely has that, but yeah, I mean, regardless of that, I still like that series, and I love all the boss fights are always real fun in those games. I mean, there's a couple that are frustrating, and even though the combat is real basic and simple, it's very satisfying on the level of like an old beat 'em up is.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I like 2 more than 1 because 1 had like those bad
travel sequences. I remember.
Yeah, and they were rough. Yeah, they were really janky, and the second one replaced them with those little 8-bit mini games, which I
liked those.
And did you ever play Killer 7?
Which one was Killer 7?
Killer 7 was the one that came out on GameCube and PS2. It was supposed to be like GameCube exclusive. No.
I played the other one that he did that actually just came out like last year about the guy who goes.
I wanted to play that. Yeah, did you like that? Shadows of the Dam?
Shadows of the Dam. That's what it was. I had intentions of actually doing a video review of it, but the game actually kept freezing over and over and over again at one of the bosses. I thought it was okay. I thought it was definitely playable, aside from the point where it actually froze up on me, which I don't know if it was the game's fault or my machine's fault, but it was fun. The gameplay was decent. The graphics were fine, but by 25 minutes of the game, I was like, okay, I get it.
Okay.
The gun is a penis. We get it.
Yeah, lots of dick jokes. Yeah, like yeah. I think something gets a little lost in translation with his games, or maybe he's just really completely insane. I don't know.
Who knows?
But yeah, I mean, even No More Heroes had tons of the dick jokes. You know, when you're charging the remote, he looks like he's jerking it. You know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's his thing, but I think his games are pretty fun. They're like, they're like B-level games, and he must be some sort of like master when it comes to budgets, because I don't understand how he still gets work. I don't understand how he can still make games, because his games never like sell a lot of copies.
Right.
They're never really. No More Heroes, the first one was like, I'd say a semi-success. But other than that, I feel like his games don't make money, but they must make money. So he must be like, I don't know.
They make awesome PR, though. That's why. It's because it's so cool to follow this kind of thing. I mean, he makes these such outlandish games. It's awesome to see them being made. I might not enjoy them all the way through, but I love the fact that there's stuff like this actually happening.
Yeah, I love it too. And what do you think of Lollipop Chainsaw? That's coming out soon.
No, that one I'm actually kind of psyched about, actually.
Yeah, Lollipop looks cool. It looks. I would not go to the store and be seen buying Lollipop Chainsaw. I would certainly have Amazon send it to me.
Yeah, there's something about that looks really cool. So
yeah, it looks very much, in line with No More Heroes. I mean, if you look at it, the combat looks pretty similar. So
yeah, so I guess that's
maybe you won't like it. I don't know, but.
I guess that's what it boils down to. I think I look at these things and I'm like, wow, that could be so great. And then I don't know, 25 minutes into it, I'm like, okay, I get it. I know what the whole game is going to be like. But
yeah,
well.
But
fun. Killer is dead. You're excited.
Dead. Yeah. I like Suda. I haven't, like I said, I didn't play Shadows. I haven't played all of his games, but I played a couple of them, and I like them. I'm gonna follow Suda for the time being, because he's good.
Cool. Double Dragon is coming back.
Yes. Yeah, I'm okay. When I read this headline, the roller coaster of emotions here. Let me tell you. Okay, Double Dragon's back. So you're like, okay, well, all right, let's see. And then they say done by WayForward for Xbox and PSN. You're like, oh man, these guys did Contra 4, they did Boy and His Blob, they know their remakes. And then you see the pictures, and you're like, oh man, this doesn't look so hot. But then you go back to remembering that WayForward does decent stuff, and then now I'm torn. I don't know how to feel now.
It's gonna be called Double Dragon Neon, right?
Yeah, Double Dragon Neon. So the idea is it's obviously complete throwback to the old games, which it should be. But what they're doing is really focusing on the whole 80s aspect of Double Dragon, which
they're over 80s-ing it almost.
Yeah, they're over 80s. Yeah, like,
we weren't this 80s back in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like they're really missing the mark here, and it's like it's very jokey, which I mean, I guess it's fine, but yeah, like the health bars look like 80s like shapes. It looks like something that's flying around the beginning of like an episode of Saved by the Bell, like all these neon colors, and it's just, I don't know if it's working for Double Dragon or not. And it's weird because I know WayForward gets it, because like you look at Contra 4 and that was this like kind of like a celebration of Contra of the old ones. Remember they had like art for it, and they kept the characters looking kind of like Arnold and Stallone, like they did on the cover of the old game, but like the new characters looked like Vin Diesel and I think like Wesley Snipes or something like that. And it was like, they kind of, the jokes were still kind of there, but it was a little more held back, whereas this is just kind of almost seems like some kind of weird parody, and I don't know if it's working. I mean, were you a Double Dragon fan back in the day or not?
Oh,
really?
Totally, but you know what? Not on the NES. Arcade only. Like I remember getting it, like renting it on my NES back in the day, and I remember just thinking, wow, this is not nearly as good as playing it in the arcade.
Dude, you didn't get into Double Dragon 2 on the NES?
Double Dragon 2 was awesome on the NES.
Yeah, man.
Double Dragon 2 was awesome because you could, like, if you pushed both buttons at the same time, you'd do that jumping hurricane kick thing.
Yeah. Oh. And what was so cool about that game too was the way the kicks and the punches flipped depending on which way you were facing. Do you remember that?
Yep. Kicking was always behind you and punching was always in front of you. And A and B would be like your attack to the right and attack to the left.
Right, exactly. It was pretty unique, and yeah, that's I don't know. I'm gonna keep an eye out on it, but I'm not expecting to be blown away. And what kind of sucks about these retro remakes is, this is obviously a budget game, and I feel like if you're not gonna do it right, I mean, don't bother. Like, it was neat at first when people were doing these retro remakes because you're like, okay, we can finally play these new games based on the old games. But now that we're playing them, they're not that good. Like, Konami did a bunch. They did like that new Russian Attack, and that was bad.
Oh God, they did a remake of Russian Attack.
Yeah,
really?
it came out like a year ago. They did Konami did a remake of not a remake, but a new Rocket Knight adventure, and that was pretty poor. And I think Capcom had a couple here and there. Other than like Bionic Commando, they haven't had like a real good one. So I don't know. Like, I'd rather them just not make it. And then you look at something like Kid Icarus, which is kind of the same idea. It's like bringing back this old idea, but like they put their all into that game, and it works. You know what I mean? Like it. I think
there's other games though, like from the 80s, that actually held up really well today, even when they put like a new veneer on them, like Bionic Commando Rearmed.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, Bionic Commando Rearmed is awesome.
It was really good. I almost like that more than the original, if you can find that, if you could believe that, I should say.
No, yeah, I mean, I totally believe it. Yeah, Rearm was great.
I mean, the music was perfect. Like the rebuilding of the controls was like dead on. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, they nailed it with that, and Capcom nailed it when they did Mega Man, especially 9. 10 was pretty good, but I don't know. I feel like these companies are kind of, I don't want to say cashing in, but
yeah,
I guess they are kind of cashing in, because they're just like, well, we know these guys love Double Dragon, we know they're going to plunk down $10-15 to play it, so.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm calling it right now before anybody even plays it, because this is such a beloved franchise, and because it's going to be a remake of such a near godlike game in a lot of people's minds from the 80s. I guarantee you that everybody's going to be giving this thing like just perfect reviews across the board.
You really think so?
Absolutely, because the one that really kind of, I don't want to say it bothered me, but having replayed the Simpsons Arcade Fighter the other, not too long ago, actually on an arcade machine, I thought, wow, this is great, but it's not as good as I remember it. Still thinking to myself, it's really fun, but I don't know. It was fun, but not that great. But when they put that out on Xbox Live Arcade, I don't think I found a single negative review about it. I don't think anybody said anything bad about it at all.
Bro, that's fun. I almost reviewed it for Elder Geek. I played it on PSN when it came out.
Did it hold up as well as you thought it would?
I don't think Simpsons in particular is one of Konami's strongest, brawlers from those days.
Right.
But I mean, it's all right for what it is. It's not amazing or anything. But, I think Double Dragon 2 for NES still holds up. Like, I think that game's still awesome.
Yeah, that one they should remake, I think.
So, yeah, I mean, if it plays well, then I could get over the whole 80s vibe that it has. But I don't know. I'm not pumped at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, I guess, as we get a little bit closer to it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Final news story for the night. This is actually one that you kind of pointed out to me. It's similar to a story that we put out a couple of days ago, but it is not the same story. You had found on Go Nintendo that an analyst is basically predicting a Doom for the Wii U.
The Doom and Gloom.
Yeah, those are the exact words. Doom and Gloom.
It's always Doom and Gloom for Nintendo with these guys. So, all right, well, what this guy's saying, he's an analyst. He's doing the, well, if Nintendo made iOS and Android games, we think their stock would just soar, but they're not going to do that. And basically that's his whole reason for why Nintendo is why I don't understand what Wii U has to do with Nintendo making mobile games, but whatever. So his other thing, he outlined a couple problems, and he calls back to the story you guys talked about the other day, where there was a couple devs dissing the Wii U GPU, saying the thing's weaker than an Xbox and a PS3.
Right.
Then he goes on to say iPad with his Retina display shows where Apple is taking its 4-screen infrastructure, leaving Wii U less connected and less relevant.
That's actually a pretty good point.
I guess it's a good point, but What are the 4 screens? What's he talking about here?
You can do like 4-player co-op with 4 iPads or 4 4 iPhones if you wanted to.
Okay, so you need to have everybody that has 4 iPads.
Right. But at the same time, if you wanted to do a 4-player game with the Wii U, you would need to buy 4 separate controllers, which, based on everybody coming forward, it sounds like those controllers are going to be pretty damn expensive.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going on with the controllers, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, when everybody's playing Mario Kart, are we going to need is everybody going to need that controller for Mario Kart? I mean, we don't know enough yet. So, I mean, that's a tough one to call. I wonder how expensive they're going to be. I'm very curious.
I'm guessing, wow. If honestly, they've got a little screen in them, unless Nintendo finds some kind of crazy deal, they're going to have to be at least $60 a piece.
I was thinking that same number.
Like 60 to 80 is what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember last E3 they were saying, and this kind of sounds like a bad idea, they're saying, well, the games don't really display on multiple screens. They only display on one, and then everybody else that's playing will use their old Wii controller. So I don't really see how that's going to work. I don't know. They definitely have an uphill battle here to fight.
They have a lot of questions to answer this E3.
Right. They certainly do. They're certainly not in the clear. But
well, what else did this guy say? He said that
he said now they have a 1-year window to gain an install base before PS4 and Xbox launch. But at that point, the core gamer that Nintendo's after for the first time will have no interest in Wii U. And we understand that Activision has no plans to support Wii U, which means the biggest selling Call of Duty will be missing, and Konami is planning minimal support. So there is no way Activision is not putting Call of Duty on Wii U. There's not. I mean, do you really believe that?
I guess it depends. You know what? I could believe them not supporting it until like Wii U sells X number of consoles.
Dude, I don't know, man. They put Call of Duty 3 on Wii on launch.
You know what else? They also make like just real crappy Call of Duty like iPhone games and crap like that. So who knows,
right,
man?
Dude. They're gonna do it. There's no way Activision is not gonna be there. There's no way.
This guy's like saying full of baloney, basically.
Yeah, and as far as Konami, he could be correct about that. And who gives a shit? Because what have they done recently that knocked the socks off anybody?
I really like the most recent Castlevania game, but
all right, I do too. But okay, that's one game in the last a couple of years where they
that came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean they just threw out a bunch of Silent Hill games. They just got shit on all at once. Like, I mean, I love Konami, and go watch. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but go watch. Jim Sterling put up a little video where he bitches about Konami, and he has like tons of great points about how they're just very lost right now. Something bad is happening there. So go check out his video. I think it's on Escapist or something like that. Do a Google on it. I don't know, type in Jim Sterling Konami. I'm sure it'll pop up. But yeah, no way Activision's missing it. And if Konami's not there, boo-hoo. Who cares?
Yeah, Konami, honestly, and as much as I hate it when companies lean too much on their old IPs, like, I'm sorry to bring this up, but Nintendo does this all the time. I'm glad that they at least brought up Kid Icarus, instead of Zelda and Mario all over again. But I like the Castlevania series. There's like that I like that dark kind of moody but still action-oriented kind of game. I love that it started off being kind of called a horror game, but now it's kind of an action game. It scratches an itch that I don't think any other company really does with Castlevania. And I think they need to make more of them. I think they need to take their time and make them really good games like they used to be.
Yeah, they've really dropped the ball with Castlevania. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, supposedly Lords of Shadow 2 is happening, and it's going to be at E3 and all this stuff. But where's our cool 3DS Castlevania with awesome 2D graphics that look great, with the 3D turned all the way up? Like, where's that one? They had like 3 of them. They shot 3 of them out on old DS. Now it's gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if when they made Lords of Shadow, they just totally took away the Castlevania reins from the guys that were working on it. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know if Kojima was like, okay, you guys don't get to do this anymore. So I
don't know, man.
I don't know how much say he has, but I know he had a little bit of say in Lords of Shadow. So I don't know what's.
I would really even like to know, like, where's the 2D platforming ones that are going to appear just on PSN and Xbox 360? Like, why aren't we seeing sequels to like Symphony of the Night? Like they make them for the GBA, and I think there was one that came out for like a co-op one only or something like that not too long ago. But
yeah, there was. I forget the name of that one, but yeah, there was a co-op one for PSN, and there was a WiiWare one called Castlevania Rebirth. That was kind of cool. That was just like the old ones, just linear stages, jumping and moving. That was a cool game.
There's just something about it though that they just don't have the same touch as the old versions.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
I can't quite put my finger on it. Like people just for some reason aren't as excited about Castlevania as they were, back when they were cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that with a lot of games actually today, especially when I was reading the Double Dragon thing. It's like, a lot of these games that should be cool aren't cool anymore, and then I feel old.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat, dude. You remember when Mortal Kombat was all the rage? Like you'd go to the arcade and there would be kids lined up to play Mortal Kombat. I
mean, to Mortal Kombat's credit, the newest one did really well. I think
it did.
So and Street Fighter bounced back this gen too, which was good. Fighting games as a whole bounced back this generation, which is good, I think, because, they totally went away, I feel like, last gen. But, I don't know. But back to the Wii U thing. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo there's lots that they need to answer. And I think it's too early to say doom and gloom. Let them have their show. See what they show off. Let's hear the price. Let's see what games are coming out. We don't know what games are coming out. We know like Assassin's Creed is going to be there. We know there's going to be a version of Dragon Quest X, a couple of things like that. But we don't know exactly what Nintendo plans on launching with this thing day one. We don't know what their Wii Sports is going to be. And those are the most important things, I think.
Yeah, those will be the initial kind of system movers. And I'm telling you, if the Wii U came out with just a killer JRPG, I would probably pick one up earlier than I thought.
Dragon Quest. I feel like that's their JRPG out of the gate. I think it's gonna launch with Dragon Quest. Well, I mean, I know that's not what you maybe want, but that's a huge one, especially in Japan.
Yeah, I used to really love the Dragon Quest series, but I think they've just gotten sillier and sillier as time has gone by.
I can't really comment too much on it because I've never played much Dragon Quest. The first one I've ever played was fairly recently, the last one, 9, that came out on DS.
Yeah.
I didn't play the whole thing, but because I got sidetracked with some other newer games. But I mean, I liked it. It seems like it's one of those things that never really evolved throughout the years, and I think that's kind of what maybe a little charming about it still.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think maybe that's not. You don't want to. Well, I mean, Monolith Soft could have something. I know Xenoblade comes out tomorrow in the U.S., but I mean that thing's been done for years. So who knows? I mean, they could have something cooking that would be available within like a launch window. Who knows?
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm really excited about this E3. This conversation seriously has me really psyched about E3.
I know, yeah, I'm excited. Can I be? Can I claim a stake on Nintendo Day show?
Yeah, of course, man. That's all you. That's all you.
Yeah, I'll be here that day.
Awesome.
Either freaking out, angry, or celebrating with joy.
Yeah, that's all you. You know what? I think we need to do I think we need to set up some kind of poll or something like that for the viewers to actually kind of, fill out. So almost like a who won E3 and what your most anticipated game was from E3 and all that kind of what was your biggest shocker of this year's E3? Because I think there's going to be a lot of big announcements this year. I really do.
Yeah. It's a cool E3 just because, well, number one, we're gonna have this huge Wii U blowout. I mean, we better have a big Wii U blowout. If there's not, then they are screwed. So you have that, and then what's so cool about this gen, I think, is how long it's lasted.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think I'm very curious to see what Microsoft and Sony do in their part prolonging those life cycles. I think they might announce a console maybe, but I think it'll, if they do, it's going to be a very similar thing to what we saw with Wii U last year, where we're just going to get maybe a glimpse and nothing else. But
I'll be disappointed if Microsoft and Sony don't announce something new. I will be.
Really? I'm not expecting them to. I mean, I guess I am, because I feel like maybe they think they have to, now that Nintendo is forcing next gen to happen. But yeah, I guess they'll have something. I guess they have to almost have something, but I'll be very... I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. So...
Yeah. Well... We actually got to wrap this up. We could talk totally about anticipation of E3, but we'll have to save that for some other time. Phil, thanks for hopping on, man. I really appreciate it. Everybody, head to the site, check out his articles that he actually just posted today, and check out his mad badass drawing skills. Which you've got I don't want to make any promises, but you've got another cartoon coming hopefully sometime soon. Yeah,
I'm working on as some of you might know, I do cartoons. I am Shamoozle.
You are
I
Shamoozle.
am it. Yeah, I was gonna say I do work for Shamoozle, but I am that. So yeah, I plan on having a new cartoon, and maybe I'll pimp it around Elder Geek when it's done.
I'd be more than happy to pimp it around on Elder Geek, man. Your stuff's awesome. So
cool, thank you.
Yeah, everybody check that out. Let me see what else. I think that's about it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to send me an email to info@elder-geek.com. Tomorrow on the show with me is going to be Mott's again, and I do believe we're going to be answering some more viewer mail and a little bit less news. But I think that about does it for me today. And Phil, as always, follow us on Facebook. Hit up elder-geek.com. And right now, we're actually one of the featured channels on the Game Station, so be sure to check out the Game Station as well. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.